Hi. Right, well, that's the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and I'm now in Israel, and I thought I'd try and do my first video blog from Israel, and it's been an absolutely overwhelming day. This is Sunday night. This is the end of my first day working with the IPCC, International Peace and Cooperation Centre, here working on a master plan for an area called Al Aseda, for it's a Palestinian town, and we're working on the master plan of that town to resist the segregation it's undergoing under the Israeli master plan for the whole of Jerusalem. We're working to produce a proposal that is alternate to that plan, that can then be filed with the Jerusalem municipality planning officers, and then go through the normal legal procedure. The idea of involving us as internationals is that to give it a different perspective and different ideas from what the kind of conflict between Palestinian and Israeli planning authorities are used to. So that I understand it first. It's just really incredibly hard to take in. I've been to site today. I've had some interesting experiences which I'll show you in the other videos, but I think I best start at the beginning. I arrived in Israel on Friday afternoon from Denmark. I slept in the airport Friday night, so I was very tired when I got here. Arrived hotel eventually. They thought I was Jewish at the airport, because my name's Samuel David Brown. They first asked me why I was in the wrong line. I was in the foreign passports line, and why I wasn't using my Israeli passport. I then told them that I wasn't Israeli. They said, "Oh, but you were Jewish, no? Which family are you staying with?" I said, "I don't have any family here. I'm not Jewish." I said, "But your name is Jewish. Your name's Jewish." So I didn't actually have any of the questions about what is your business in Israel. I just had this long debate about why I wasn't Jewish. So yeah, that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending on the situation involved this week. So yeah, I arrived, got to the hotel. Eventually, it took me 3 hours in the taxi because we had the shared taxi service doesn't leave until it's full from the airport. We had to wait, and then I arrived on the Friday, which is the Sabbath, the Shabbat, and it was full. We were full of kind of full traditional dressed Jewish men, really anxious to get back for Shabbat, giving the taxi driver hell for not leaving yet. So we went through this kind of elaborate tour of Jewish neighbourhoods before getting back to the Damascus Gate, which is part of the old city. And then I had to find this hotel, which no one knew where it was. Taxi drivers won't come into East Jerusalem from the airport anyway. They tend to be the Jewish taxi drivers, so they won't come into East Jerusalem. But I could get a taxi from the Damascus Gate round to here, which I obviously got blatantly ripped off on, being the first time, being desperate. So I eventually arrived here, slept, and then met Ellis Dodwell, who's the kind of coordinating guy. He's a year out student from Cambridge, and he's coordinating this project. He's a guy, which I didn't know. I thought he was a woman, and also he's a lot younger than I thought he was, which is good and bad. I mean, it's unnerving from the kind of the organisational workshop point of view, for me at least. So yeah, but met him and went to a bar called Uganda, which is over in West Jerusalem, with a Palestinian friend of his, so that's quite a rare thing for a Palestinian who goes to West Jerusalem to drink. But it's just an idea of this kind of modernisation amongst Palestinians, and kind of the younger Palestinians particularly do want to be seen to be integrated into modern urban life. So it was great to talk to him about things. So it was we were out till kind of 3 in the morning, and so I came back here and slept much of Saturday, which is good because it's hard to do things on the Sabbath anyway. But yeah, so it was really good to talk to him. He gave me a lift back afterwards, his car, to the hotel. So sorry about that. It really is so much to take in. I then spent the rest of Saturday wandering around the old city of Jerusalem, which was really, really cool. Like, it's just so much history in one place. I aim to try and see the three kind of main holy sites: the Jewish one, which is the Western Wall; the Muslim one, which is the Temple Mount, and the Christian one, which is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I managed to see the church and the Wailing Wall, although you're not allowed to take photos on the Sabbath at the Wailing Wall, so I had to go back to get some pictures. And they shut the Temple Mount on the Saturday as well. So I didn't manage to get in there. But having done that, I also wandered through, kind of orientating myself in the old city of Jerusalem, which is a good first day. So today, kind of went into the temporary office that the IPCC is using, which is has no internet. It does have internet, but they turn the internet off when they want to use the hot water. They've only been in there a day or two. Printer drivers don't work, and the kind of program itself is slowly revealing itself to me as this not amazingly organised thing, actually. The guys have already been here 10 days before I've joined, and it seems to kind of divide into two very distinct groups based on a working methodology. You've got the kind of super cool Mac users in one room who are mapping things, and they've been to site and talked to people and videoed people, quite intrusively in some cases, but kind of they've gone and they've talked to people about the site. They're trying to map kind of the value of what's there already. Very kind of participatory, the seeds of a kind of participatory design approach, and they've dropped a big drawing on the wall of who they've met and where and the stories, and they very much see the production of that information as part and parcel of the master plan we're producing. And then you've got the other room, which it's kind of being run by the most senior guy there at the minute, which is a guy called Matt, who's worked for Design for London, and he also worked for OMA, Office of Metropolitan Architecture, the Raymond Coolhouse. There's interesting stories about that, but he's very on the button. They definitely see it as, we've got to produce what we can in 6 weeks. We've got to deliver, and so they're kind of looking at typology, they're looking at zoning, they're looking at kind of massing on the site, looking at site analysis, really detailed site analysis, as detailed as you can get here, with the data information we've got, and the leadership we've got, and the direction we've got, which is nothing, pretty much. The IPCC tend to be this, well, they're revealing themselves as this kind of quite arm's length involvement through Ellis to us, and then we meet occasionally with them, and I was lucky enough to go to one of those meetings today. We met with a guy called Racine, who's a pretty high up planner. He's a professor at the university, but he's also a kind of head planner, and he's very much advocating this kind of Palestinian culturally orientated planning, is what he calls it. And then Rami, who is the head of the NGO, the IPCC. They are as the NGO. They very much control things. From talking to people, they've never been that explicit about what they want out from us. I think we're here as a big tick in the box in terms of getting international support for international support and points of view on the situation. It gives a weight to their argument in terms of the planning and stuff. But also, I don't think they really have that clear an idea of what they expect us to produce, which is causing a lot of problems. I think it's caused this division in working with, like, no team leader, no program, has caused this kind of divide. It doesn't help by the building we're working in, which is actually, they are in two different rooms with their own bathrooms, and it's hard to mix. So I see my role as a fresh pair of eyes coming in, as flitting between the two maybe, and seeing what I can bring in terms of connections. Doesn't help, I've been billed as the expert in social enterprise, given my limited background. So it seems that things that status would give me the right to say I had skills in, is actually not what the IPCC are looking for. They're not looking for us to engage with people. They're looking for us to deliver on a design on paper. And it's interesting, particularly with trying to understand how this project fits in to the kind of wider whole. So yeah, very overwhelming, very chaotic. And I guess the final bit to add is that we just went to site this evening. I was desperate to go to site because I feel like I'm pretty out of the loop in terms of the guys have had all the tours and stuff. I'm trying to catch up. It doesn't look like those tours are going to be given on a plate to me. And there were two guys going, Daniela and Marcello. Daniela's from Italy, and Marcello's from Brazil. So we fumbled our way there in a taxi, some very harsh negotiating, and then got completely lost. Tried to find our way into the site, which there's another video of. And actually, the bit where I thought we were in a pretty sticky situation was when some kids in this kind of, it's an illegal, it's kind of housing that's been built by Palestinians illegally, that is informal housing, they keep referring to it as, and it's kind of difficult to describe, but they're obviously very suspicious of anyone who comes in, and that they later found out after talking to some people that they thought we were Jewish, and the kids were throwing stones at us. Not dangerously anyway, it was kind of more of a juvenile gesture, but I did start to think at that point, but we made friends with them when we had a name of a contact there, and we were seeking that person and got to talk to the kids' mothers, which is interesting. Like, the IPCC has given us no support in how to engage with people. Like, another thing to be aware of, like as a male, you're not supposed to enter a house, an Arabic or Palestinian house, if the man of the house isn't there. If it's just a woman, you're not supposed to enter the house. So luckily Marcelo knew that, and so Daniela went in and talked to the women. Also, same applies on a bus. In Jewish neighbourhoods or in Palestinian neighbourhoods, you as a male should try to avoid sitting next to a woman on a bus. It's very strange to me. Like, you had no support in how to engage, no pedagogy for engagement and participatory kind of design things, which I guess is not that unusual, because that's not what the IPC are expecting us to do. It's just what some people end up doing here, and the lack of kind of directorship means that people do what they want. So whilst I would hesitate to say that I'm uncomfortable, it's definitely a very overwhelming first day while I try and work out all the different things. But I'll try and put the pictures up. Internet connection is sporadic at best, so if this gets up, it's a miracle. And this has been remarkably quiet as well. I'm glad you can hear me, if you can hear me. It's pretty busy outside. Anyway, I'm going to get off this window because I'm 4 stories up, but hopefully this makes it through and it's not too long and you haven't stopped watching and stuff.